The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another week of broadcasting right here behind the JLS microphone. I'm your host, as you should know by now. I appreciate you joining me for this exciting week of broadcasting. We've got two great guests that will be joining us. In the first hour, we have Mr. Jonathan Rios of 920 WON The Apple. He'll be calling us in the second segment, and we're going to talk about all kinds of different things. Now, in the second hour, we have special guest Mr. Derek Shelmerdine joining us, our monthly edition of Rock and Roll Unraveled. And this month, we'll be talking about the psychedelic 60s. Now, before we get to our guests, if I may indulge myself here, we lost my father a couple weeks back, and unfortunately, due to financial restraints, I was unable to be at the funeral. I've had really mixed feelings about everything. See, I didn't get to know my father when I was growing up, but when I did get to finally meet him and our relationship grew from there, I found out he was a pretty great guy. But I'll tell you, last week, and I don't know how I did the shows last week, but it kind of all sunk in, losing him. And the time I had not known him, and I wished that I had been able to spend more time with him, because of the things that I did know of him. I really liked the guy. And over the years, we got closer and closer and closer. You sit back and there's so much time that I didn't have with him that I felt I lost out. And so, I had a bad week last week. I've been talking to my sister who lives out there. She really wanted me to come, and I tried every avenue. I exhausted every way of earning money I could possibly get to just come up with the last minute funds, because it's not cheap to just pick up and go somewhere for a day or two and then come back. And I couldn't even get the money gathered. I found extra work. I went, and it took forever to get people to pay me. You know how that goes. So my sister, who had been working so hard while he was sick, and then now she's been doing all the work that goes into making a funeral. So I had guilt all week, because when we were getting closer, I knew I wasn't going to have the funds. I left it, like some people, my grandma would say, I left it in God's hands. If I was going to get there, I was going to do everything I could to earn the money to get there. But as I was reflecting, knowing that, okay, I can't be there for his funeral, and I really like the guy. It's tough watching your loved ones go. We all know it. And there was a lot of lost time there. And I'm not talking about the years after I met him. I wish I could have seen him more. So when I reflect on the years that I did know him, we talked, we got to know each other, we laughed, we had similar political views. I don't know how I have some of his mannerisms or even picked up some of his traits, but apparently they were there all the time. But now, as I'm talking to my sister, she's finding out things, going through his military records and other items of his, that because there's so much to do when somebody passes away. And she didn't know some stuff, and I'm like, he kept a lot of things to himself. Oddly enough, I do the same thing. I don't know how I picked up that trait. He went through Vietnam. So there were probably a lot of dark days he didn't want to remember. Maybe he was just the type that carried on, because my sister said he was the strongest man that she ever knew, and I wish I would have had more time to see that. He was great to me, and for the years I did get to spend with him. I remember the one time when he just shows up at my door out of the blue. I didn't know he was coming. I could be wrong, but I think I went to the door half in my underwear or something like that, and there's my dad, and I was in total shock. It was right after my divorce. Wow, yeah. So he came right after that, spent a few days here, actually, and then he moved to Tennessee for a little while, which was close, and then he came back another time for some other family matters. And then he moved to Arizona, spent much time with him. We talked. He'd always remember me at Christmas, and I got a lot of great personal gifts over the years. I don't know if he carried guilt because he wasn't there in my life when we were, years ago, and he was trying to, just make up for the years. I don't know. I never got to learn who the man was to the full extent, and I'm sorry for that, because from what I can tell from the people who did grow up with him, my sister, and some of the other kids he adopted, a lot of people would harbor resentment because of those lost years. I'm just sorry I missed it, because I think I missed out on a great guy. And it's a shame that whatever circumstances did arise that put him in a position to where we were separated for all those years. I was raised by my grandparents primarily, and we were always raised to forgive. And just, if people come back in your life, you accept them and you make the best of it. I wasn't the only one who didn't know everything about my dad's inner being, who he was, because he kept a lot of it to himself. I'm thankful for my grandparents, and they were the ones who gave me a shot in life, because I wouldn't have stood a chance. Wouldn't have stood a chance without them looking out for me. And to my sister, who's done all the work, I'm sorry I couldn't be there to help you out during the time he was sick and through all the funeral arrangements, which were just a hassle, and the VA's a pain in the rear. I wish I'd have got to know the guy better. And for anyone to take some kind of lesson from this, no matter what happens in the past that was out of your control, when things work themselves out, at least try, instead of harboring resent towards something, at least try to live with what happened and to make the best of the future. Who they were in the past is not always who they are now. Goodbye, Pops. We're going to miss you. All right, folks, we have a few minutes before Mr. Jonathan Rios from 920 WON The Apple will be joining us. So we're going to open up the phone lines to you because we know you have things to talk about. Our first call coming in from Detroit and Shady. What say you, Shady?
John, what's the big deal with this Pocahontas woman?
Which Pocahontas are you talking about?
The fake one, John.
I really don't know what the big deal is about.
John, they're coming.
Who's coming, Shady?
They're coming up through Mexico, John.
Are you talking about the caravan coming in from Honduras?
It's an invasion.
Yeah, well, one could extrapolate that, yes.
What are we going to do about it, John?
I don't know what we can do about it, but Trump wants to send troops to the border.
I heard that. He said someone's paying for them to come up here.
Well, we're going to pay when they get here.
Well, how are they going to stop them, John?
Well, apparently Mexican police are deployed to prevent them from their trek up to the States.
Do you really trust those Mexicans?
What do you mean by that, Shady?
They're probably going to give them maps into the country, John.
What are you trying to say here, Shady?
I'm saying the Mexican police force is a bunch of criminals, John, and the Mexican government doesn't stop their own people from crossing the border, so maybe they're just giving them directions.
Directions to what, Shady?
On how to cross the border, John. You know, like a travel agent.
Well, let's see what happens first before we jump to conclusions.
Oh, they'll be jumping, John. Don't you worry about it.
So what would you like President Trump to do?
Oh, that's easy, John. Blow up the border.
You mean put in a lot of troops there?
No, put those little explosive things so if people walk, they get blown up.
Then we'll have the United Nations coming down on us for killing people.
I've got a solution for that. We'll put up signs. Mind your business or you're gonna blow up.
Okay, Shady, thanks for your call. Our next call goes out to Gordy in Canada.
Canada legalized pot, eh? Now we can smoke it whenever we want.
I heard it's like a national experiment.
They're gonna see how high we can get, eh?
And you know it's all about money. And you
No, it's about getting high, eh?
Are they going to get tax revenue from legalizing marijuana?
Oh, I think so, eh?
Then it's about the money.
I never thought of that, eh?
Thanks for your call. Back out to Washington. Ditzy, you're on the show.
Hi, John. I'd just like to respond to last week's call from the bloated baby mama in Chicago, John.
Well, why didn't you call last week?
Well, I was busy, John.
Okay, so what's your response?
I beat you last time, you fat mama. The only reason I didn't win, John, is because that fat bloated baby mama of 12, John, was just too heavy to roll over. So if she wants another chair smashed into her head, John, I'm all for it.
Okay, well, we'll talk to you ladies off the air and we'll set a date.
Thanks, John.
All right, folks, I think it's time to take that break. Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going?
Hey, you, get back here. The John LeBang Show will be right back.
Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
Hey man, you're listening to the John LeBang Show, man.
The place where chronic brain cell rejuvenation happens.
Feel like you're getting any smarter yet?
920 WON The Apple, Jonathan Rios. How you doing, my friend?
Buddy, great to talk with you again. Thank you for having me on the show. How you doing, my friend?
Well, you had technical difficulties, and I just had some testicle difficulties, my friend. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're going to need blue pills after this. Yeah, it happens, man. That's radio. How's that? So what's up? How is everything going with you? But by the way, I want to just compliment you. You just have a tremendous show. I love airing it. I love listening to it. Just keep up the good work. I mean, it's great entertainment. It truly is.
Why don't you tell people about what's going on 920 WON The Apple? Because you've shaken things up. You've moved over to Live 365. You got a lot of new shows. Tell us about what's going on there.
Lots of things going on. Probably the busiest time I've had since I started the station back in 2015. We're expanding our lineup. We've already I think many listeners have tuned in. We've expanded our daytime schedule on Thursdays and Fridays, and we're scheduled to do Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays next week. By the time this airs, we'll probably already have done that. The reason for that, obviously, being on Live 365 was a big part of it. We're still on Castro FM until TuneIn opens their doors to us. But a big part was the fact not only we're on Live 365, but the fact that there's so much talent on internet radio and low-power radio stations and radio in general, as you generally know. And it was just time to expand. And I was getting emails all over the place from certain people. Hey, can we have our show on our station? I took a listen. I said, this is a good fit for us, but what room do we have? So it just came to a point where it was just time to expand, time to get people a chance to be heard. And, I think the fact that we're doing much better on Live 365 was the turning point for me. So we have a lot of shows that we're going to be launching over the next couple of days. This is the busiest time of the year for 920, obviously with the Veterans Day and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's approaching, because that's where we really put the pedal to the metal. But it was just time to expand. There's just too much talent that should be heard, yet it's not. So the perfect platform is for us, and I'm very proud of everybody who helped get this expansion together. Really am.
Now you have 6 shows of your own that you produce.
Yes, I'm surprised I'm not dead now. Honestly, I mean, you talk about. I mean, first of all, I mean, the big one of all, obviously, is One Nostalgic Weekend. It airs on currently 25 stations, possibly more, in the next few days. It's a lot of work. It takes 2 weekends of my time. I do 2 shows on the weekend. I produce, and then 2 shows on another weekend, and then send them all in a batch. And it's a lot of work. Obviously, you got to communicate with everybody and stuff. The other shows I do AFT Buzz, which is co-produced, and it was presented. We have a partnership with Arena Football Talk. That's a weekly thing I produce every week. And the other shows I do just occasionally, New York at Night, where I interview people, and you've been part of that. The 13th Man, which focuses on the Buffalo Bills, who are they just suck right now. And then, of course, 2 other old-time radio shows, Fox Hollywood Theater and Nostalgia Theater, which I hope to launch on other stations in just a few weeks. Right now, they're holiday airing only. So, yeah, buddy, I mean, you know how it is. You do 3 shows. 6 is a lot. I mean, I'm surprised. Again, I'm surprised I'm talking to you right now, because I'd probably be in the meat wagon being carried for going nuts with all these damn shows I do. But it's tough, man. I mean, you do 3 shows. It's a lot of work.
But you keep up your strength by eating pizza, right?
Yes, I do. I think I know where you're going here, man. I think I know where you're going. Yeah, I love pizza. There's nothing better than New York pizza, unless it's Domino's. You got to make sure you go to these places that have bags. The one in my neighborhood didn't have bags at all. I mean, how in God's name does a $1 million company called Domino's not have plastic bags to put breadsticks and pizza in? That's dumb. It's absolutely stupid. But, of course, I mean, I don't know. But in Detroit, that's home of Little Caesars, isn't it? I mean, you're located in
Michigan.
We
call them Little Cheesers here. They have the hot and ready for $5. You can get the double hot and ready or whatever it is for $6. And it's like eating cardboard.
You know what? I can't eat that stuff. We have one in our neighborhood, and they get plastic bags. But, again, you can't eat. You can't. It's hard. I love eating the pizza, but it just does something to my stomach. I can't eat it anymore. So I eat the homemade ones here in my neighborhood. Chara's, I believe. It used to be called Danny's and Joe's. They make great pizza. They got the best pizza in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And, me and my friend, my mom, we just stuff our face with it. It's great. It's affordable. And it doesn't taste like cardboard. And they also get plastic bags. So it's just great food. It's just great food to eat. And, I enjoy it. Pizza's one of my favorite foods and stuff. So, yeah, I love pizza, but you're right. That's keep me going.
They have the gall to sell the $5 pizza, the exact same one, inside the hockey arena for like $16. The same exact pizza.
Whoa, $16 in that arena, which I know is home to the Pistons and the Red Wings.
The Dead Wings. They suck.
Listen, don't tell me about
You complain about New York teams. I mean, I understand you have twice as many teams, so no wonder when they all suck, it just hurts so bad because it hurts terribly.
Here's the thing about our sports teams, okay? You guys got the Detroit Lions, you got the Tigers, you got the Red Wings and the Penguins, okay? Yeah. Listen, you think that's bad? Listen, we are going through hell in this town, especially with a particular team that wears the red, white, and blue, the New York Giants. Dude, seriously? They suck. Honestly, 5 straight years of sucking more sucks than ever before. How in God's name can't do this? I mean, Eli Manning gets too much stuff here in this town. When the O-line sucks, the defense sucks, the wide receiver sucks, the head coach sucks, the general manager sucks. Every seat in that goddamn trash of a building sucks. It just sucks. You got Odell Beckham, who I cannot stand for my life, has the haircut of some kind of a fool you see on one of those old-time Hanna-Barbera cartoons that nobody even watched. banging his head across the crossbar. I can't stand him. You know, I can't stand. I'm a Giant fan for 30 years. I'm a 30-year Giant fan. I've seen the ups. I've seen the downs. John, this is the downest this team has been. They suck. They absolutely suck. I can't watch them anymore. I can't watch them.
The Lions are perpetual suck, though, man. It's every year the Lions suck. I think they've had one good year in the last 15, dude.
But here's the thing. It's disappointing for your club this year because everybody thought this team was going to compete with the Vikings and the Packers. Heading into the Monday night
they're the Packers, all right.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. But honestly, heading into the season opener, the Monday Night Football, if you want to call that junk Monday Night Football that they are on ESPN, the Jets and the Lions. I thought the Jets were going to lose on the first play. Darnold throws an interception. I'm saying, okay, Lions are going to get this one. And then the Jets just run over the Lions, forgive me. And, of course, it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just hard to root for our teams, not just because they suck, but also the quality of players suck. With all these penalty calls, And you know how bad the Giants are. The Knicks haven't played yet, and that's how sucky they are, man. Come on. Jeez.
Hey, we have the Dead
God.
Wings.
Oh,
The glory
man,
years of the Red Wings. I can't believe how far we've fallen. Zetterberg just said, "My back hurts. I'm leaving," and he quit. He's like, "We're done."
Listen, the Rangers are limping. The Devils, I mean, they're right now surprising everybody. The Islanders, I think they're going to be competing, but I don't know. It's tough to be a Detroit fan, but here in New York City is totally different. When you only got one team, the Jets of all teams, the Jets. Think about it, the Jets are the only team that has something to play for. That's a sad year. It's a sad year. You know, you think anybody's looking forward to basketball? Does anybody in New York City even know what a basketball winning team is? I mean, when was the last time New York basketball actually meant something? I had enough. That's it. Jeez. I'm a Yankee fan. We already went through hell. You know how many times I got to get insulted by every Boston fan? Forget it. It's just, and the Giants just forget. I feel like it's just, It's hard to speak right now. The Giants are that bad.
It's like you're a sadomasochist by rooting for those teams.
Listen, I stopped watching. Listen, when Joe Buck said touchdown Eagles multiple times, I knew it was over. I knew it was over for the club. We're 1-5. It's sad because this is happening too many times. Every time we 1-5, the season's over. The season's over before the kick-off starts in the season. And come on, man. It's hard to be a Giant fan. If you're a Jet fan, you have something to look forward to. It took them almost 50 years for something to look forward to. Imagine, the Jets.
Well, they had Joe Namath.
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
The one thing I remember about Joe Namath, he used to advertise, what was this ointment? I forgot. It was something 444. He used to advertise Nobody Beats the Wiz, which is no more. He used to do preseason games for the Jets on Pix 11 in New York, too. But the thing that sticks out for me, you may remember this, he was drunk when that poor ESPN reporter was on the field.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
That is the biggest memory I remember, man. Oh my God.
It's proud to be a Jets fan.
It is hard, but you know what? I mean, that's their history, and it's nothing to be honest, in all seriousness, there's nothing to be sneezed at. I mean, they did something. That was a great year, 1969, with the Mets, sadly, that suck. The Knicks, that sadly, that suck. The Jets, their future looks bright. I think the thing about the Jets is that their Super Bowl win changed the NFL. Anybody could, and it's people, you can't deny it. You know, they were part of that AFL football league, and because the Jets won the Super Bowl, that's when everybody emerged. So, you know, give credit to the Jets and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all their history. Joe Namath,
struggling.
I don't know, but they got something to be happy about while the Giants continue to float in the swamp and drown. It's just
speaking of the swamp, what do you think of Kanye West up at meeting with the president?
Oh my God! Listen, I just don't understand where his brain is. Honestly,
Which one?
To go on a rant like that, it was unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. Come on, it's just. I mean, there's no words. I couldn't. When he started to get up and just open his mouth, I changed the channel. I watched it at work. My coworker had it on his app. We were able to watch it, and I just told him, please shut that crap off. Like, I'm gonna want to get deaf. I'm not 40 yet. I want to hear good things, not stupid things.
I was waiting for a beat to break out.
Here's a guy who has. I mean, I don't know if he has talent. I'm not into hip hop and stuff, but here's a guy that should focus on getting his life together. He has a beautiful wife who I don't know how she got famous. He has a kid. You just focus on that. Don't go on national television and make a buffoon out of yourself. I mean, honestly, it was comical, but also sad, because we all know that, in all honesty and seriousness, he has not been the same since his mom died. Let's just be honest here. But you cannot make a fool of yourself and be an embarrassment not only to yourself and your family and the country, but also the entertainment industry. I mean, it's just it's funny, but it's also head scratching, and it's sad at the same time. But he's always been a fool. Honestly, he always has been. And it's a shame. It really is a shame.
I thought the best thing was Trump's look while it's all happening. He didn't know what to say.
And that's the first time that Trump's mouth has been closed. I mean, it's honestly. I mean, what could you say? I mean, it was really a really head-scratching situation, and to this day, I still don't understand how the White House let that happen, let alone get it televised. I've given up, honestly. I'm at the point where nothing's going to surprise me anymore of what goes on in this country, politically or socially, because you just don't know anymore. And if something unexpected happens, you are surprised by it, but yet you're not taken back by it. That's just the world we live in right now, especially in this country.
Exactly, my friend.
Don't move a muscle.
The John LeBang Show, right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes!
Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John LeBang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John LeBang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John LeBang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
So tell us a little bit more about the One Nostalgia Weekend, because we kind of glossed over that. And I want people to understand what you do on that show.
We focus on shows that aired obviously in the golden age of radio, the great time of radio, from the 1930s all the way up to at least the 70s. And we're targeting shows that were based off of comic books or comic strips or appeared in comic books and comic strips. The shows we carry obviously is The Lone Ranger, Superman, which is our number one baby on our station, no matter what. We have Dragnet, starring the late Jack Webb, and The Saints, starring Vincent Price. Whenever a show, we run out of episodes of the show, it comes to an end, we rotate them. We had other shows like Green Hornet, and Space Patrol, and Little Orphan Annie, and Flash Gordon. The list goes on and on and on. So the key was to do something and focus on shows that, because we're, as you know, everywhere you turn to, whether it's TV or movies, there's a comic book hero or something based off a comic strip that's on the screen. And I think the goal of this is that, radio was the king of all these type of characters and stuff, and that's how they became popular. Superman is a perfect example. They lasted 11 years on the radio. 11 years, the longest-running syndicated radio drama serial in radio history. I mean, they've got over 2,000 shows that are still available. I mean, it's sad a lot of these stations don't air it. And, it's just amazing, the quality of the shows. Again, you close your eyes and you imagine the action yourself. That's the beauty of old-time radio. And we must be doing something right on the show, because we got 25 stations that carry it, and hopefully more to come. So I'm very proud of the show. We've come a long way. There's still, I always say this. Have I reached the goal? Yes, but I always say this, and you know this. There's still a lot of work to be done. Mm-hmm. And with One Nostalgic Weekend, I'm very proud of where we've gone, but still a lot of work to be done.
What do you think of Warner Brothers and how they've portrayed Superman?
They've made him too dark. honestly. I'll say this to the day I die, and it's been 40 years since that movie came out. There's only one Superman, and that's Christopher Reeve. I like Harry Cavill. I think he's a great actor. I think he's a good Superman. The problem is the direction Warner Brothers does with the DC movies. They do well on the DC TV shows on the CW. Of course, my show is Supergirl. I think everybody knows that. But again,
we wonder why.
Well, come on, she looks pretty damn good, and she's a good actress too. But again, I don't know what they've done with the Superman character. I think when they came back with Superman Returns, if anybody even remembers that, Brandon Roth played Superman. He's on Legends of Tomorrow. I think the character just got lost in the shuffle. I mean, it's hard to top Christopher Reeve. Let's be honest. I mean, Dean Cain tried it. He was successful on TV. They had Superboy that aired in the early 90s. I don't know if anybody remembers that show. And then, of course, you got Henry coming in. He's a good Superman. But it's hard to portray. I think Warner Brothers is just having a tough time trying to see what that character really is, because it's hard. Again, I'll keep repeating it. Chris he made that character so significant and so powerful and so iconic and legendary, is really hard to top, and I don't think anybody has been able to top it, and I don't think anybody will. Henry's a good actor, he's a good Superman, but he's not the best, and they've made that character more darker than he should be. I think they should follow through the Richard Donner films from Superman 1 all the way to the dreadful Superman 4. I mean,
was that with Richard Pryor?
No, the one it was with Richard Pryor was Superman 3. That was not my favorite, because I think they just came off. I don't think they knew what to do with it, and also we heard behind the scenes Reeves and Pryor did not get along, and I think the fact there was no Margot Kidder also took away from it. Superman 4 has its charm, but Cannon Films made it, Golden Globus, and it just sucked. It just bombed. I mean, it's just seriously. I mean, good. I mean, it's. What's the old saying when it comes to B movies? It's so good it's bad.
Right.
You're like on the fence with that. It's some charm because of Reeves and everybody else. But, I think, again, repeating, DC Comics, I think they just lost it with the Superman character. And I hope they get it fixed, but apparently that's not going to happen anytime soon.
It's got to be hard having a character so darn powerful and invulnerable to make a good story,
It is, and I think with Supergirl is a perfect example. They make her. She's a little bit vulnerable because I think, in all honesty, she's a little bit naive of some things, And last year, I mean, she was really in a bad place. And of course, towards the end of this year, she'd saved the world. She'd get back to her old bubbly self. I think if the DC movie division followed in what they do with the Supergirl character on the CW, then I think people would respect Superman. And there's a lot of Superman fans that likes Henry. But again, I think the problem here is that I don't think the studio knows what to do with the current Superman right now.
I think they're hurting Batman as well, because both of them are just killing indiscriminately. And it's really not either one of their, how they handled things. They were really, save lives versus just going out and killing people.
That's the thing. I think that's another thing you bring up. I think it's just too much violence when it comes to these DC comic characters. The funny thing is that I think the strongest characters for DC movies is Batman. Whether you like Ben Affleck or not, I think he's right now, along with Wonder Woman, are the two strongest characters in the DC comic movieverse right now.
How do you not like Wonder Woman? I mean, it's great visuals on top of everything else,
It's amazing what they've done, and it took almost, 40 years to put this together, because I know everybody's been asking, when they're going to make a Wonder Woman film, when they're going to make it. And they knocked it out the park, and the casting choice was tremendous. It was different, but tremendous. It has worked. They're currently making a new one right now. And all due respect to the actress now, there's only one Wonder Woman, and that is Linda Carter, and she's on Supergirl too. You look at that woman from the 70s. I don't know, maybe you did watch the show. It was cheesy, but it was fun to watch. And the woman, seriously, I don't know. She's had to be one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life, And I first saw that show when I was 6 years old, and I was just memorized by her. But getting back to the DC comic movies, I think they gotta lighten it up a little bit, or else they will continue. I guess Shazam is one of those films that's trying to lighten it up.
Yeah, but it looks see, that one's like overboard cheesy. It looks like it's not even like the Deadpool bad. It's like really bad, almost on purpose trolling bad.
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting how that film is going to be received. A lot of people I know are looking forward to it. They like it. I mean, it's a curious film to watch because nobody's ever done a Shazam film. They've done a TV show back in the 70s, but that was cheesy.
They've screwed up my two favorites in DC. They screwed up Green Lantern way back when, and then this is not the Shazam I know, and he was my second favorite. Over Superman, I love Shazam, but Green Lantern was my ultimate favorite. Now, it's funny how they've actually beat Marvel to the punch with Wonder Woman having that lead female actress that Marvel didn't. They still, I mean, they got Captain Marvel coming out, and that's really their first big female lead character to carry a movie.
And I'm surprised they didn't go with Black Widow first because, you know, and they're going to have a standalone with Black Widow. We know that. I'm surprised as well. I really am. And I'm not a Marvel guy because I'm a DC guy, but I am actually going to watch Captain Marvel. The way I've seen it, it looks pretty good, John. It really does. I'm really looking forward to seeing that film, see what they do with the female lead character. It's going to be interesting. But, yeah, I think DC Comics, Warner Brothers, they did a tremendous job of having a lead character, a female Wonder Woman. There's talks about a Supergirl film coming up in a few years as well. They're working on that. So I think DC, they did the right thing. That's the only thing they've done right in the movie division is have a female lead film first before Marvel. I think they really did a good job with that.
So what's been catching your eye in the news lately, my friend, since we'll just switch topics here?
Well, I mean, what else? The thing with Trump, obviously. I mean, seriously, every day there's something with that man. I think the fact that, and I'm not into politics, but when you look at it, and I do hear things, Democrats are closing in. I think there's no question about it. I think what's going on with this country, mentally and physically and financially, I mean, people will say, oh, we're doing financially well in the stock market. No. You got to. I think the problem here is that this country seems to have lost common sense. Honestly, I really do.
And civility.
That too. And it all starts with the head man with the orange wig, Trump, because I really think he just doesn't. I really think he doesn't get it. And I think what happened with the Supreme Court thing is just. It is sad. People are going to make fun of it. It's sad. It's disturbing, and it's disgusting. How the hell can Congress or the Republicans let a man who has been accused of all this kind of stuff? And there's records, I suppose, that's proven he's done it, that he's now a Supreme Court judge. How does that happen?
But no proof really came out. All the interviews they did, as far as I can tell, had shown nobody who cooperated with her story. I thought it was all political theater. I thought it was the Republicans and Democrats playing their normal thing. We're gonna get everybody focused on this because there was other things going on at the time around the world that we didn't pay attention to because we were all focused on Kavanaugh.
It was such, in my opinion. I mean, listen, I understand about the sexual harassment thing, and I do think that has to be brought up. But I think it just dragged this country into the level of embarrassment, okay? Especially when you have all these TV networks, everybody, ABC, CBS, NBC, even the independent stations, like CW stations, like Pix 11 here in New York, covering this. It was a political circus. It was like watching a tragic comedy show.
Yep.
It really was, because you're watching people's lives getting destroyed, getting dismantled and stuff. I mean, you were at the point where you just did not know who to believe anymore. And that's sad. And sexual harassment against women is nothing to joke about. But to me, it's like Washington made this. It made this. It was like watching a movie coming apart. I can't even tell you the words because I know we're on radio and it's better to keep myself censored. But it's just.
No, it was disgusting, Jonathan.
It was.
What the both political parties did, and I look at it and I'm like, they did this at a time when other things were going on, and nobody covered the other things at all.
Exactly. And it seems that's always the case. Always the case. When something else is happening in this country or in the world, we're always focused on something that just continues to get this country into the level of embarrassment. And I think that was our lowest point. I really do. No, there's no winners in this.
No, and everybody was connected to the big state. Everybody. Blasey Ford had CIA connections. I mean, they leaked the stuff when she told them not to leak it. I mean, how... Yeah. It's just, like you said, it's embarrassing what this country has been dragged through, and it was the political. See, I'm on a pitch right now where we got to just get rid of the Democrats, get rid of the Republicans, kill those two parties, get them out of here because they are the biggest problem in this country. Go back to individual people, and I don't know if we can do that. But I'm hoping that the people will wake up and just stop this nonsense with these two parties and flush them.
This is why I don't get into politics. And I've always said this, and you know this, that politics is poisonous. Politics is the root of all evil because it seems like common sense just goes out the window. It's he said, it's she said, it was I'm protecting my party, or I'm protecting this party. It leads to the point where this country is so divided and so messed up right now. And when you got a guy in the White House who's the commander-in-chief with no political experience at all, it makes the country... It's like you're on the highway and you're driving a car, and all of a sudden the steering wheel comes loose, and now you're about to head into a cliff. Honestly, that's what I think we're heading into. Thank goodness we're close to 2019. It means that we're just 1 year away from things changing. Obviously,
but we're going to be dragged through the mud again, Jonathan, because now we have, once we get through these midterms here, whatever happens here, then the Democrats will start next year and picking their nomination for about a year. They'll do that, so we'll hear that all the time. Democrats, and then we'll be dragged through. It just never stops, dude. I mean, we need a break. We need a vacation from it, and we can't get it as a country. We need a break.
I agree. We need a break from politics. We need a break from everything that has to do with Washington and the White House. That's why you don't see me post anything on my Facebook page about politics, John, because it's just so depressing. It's just a headache. It just is. And I don't know. Listen, is the light at the end of the tunnel? Who the hell knows? At this point, I've seen everything in 30 years. I just don't know. I hope there is, but right now, I don't know, John. I don't know. I'm tired of it too. You know, I don't watch the news because of all this stuff. You know, and it's sad. We're really in a sad place right now, and hopefully, you know, things get better, but not under this administration, not under the Washington we have now.
It's hard to argue. It's the last thing you said was the most pertinent. Not under the Washington we have now, because those people are so divided. They don't want to work with each other, and then they get their base to oppose each other, and that's why we got fights in Portland. What the hell is that about? These politicians are driving us to this. That's what I'm worried about. Is that they're pushing us into some kind of civil unrest on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it really is. I mean, it's remarkable. It's sad what has happened here. And I don't know. And the fact that this country has gone so political, so PC, I don't know. I just don't know. I think I know what you're talking about. Proud Boys. They were fighting in Portland, and now I'm here in New York City. I don't know how we got to this. I really don't know. It's amazing that one man that gets voted in can just start up a wave of hate.
But I don't think it's just him. See, it's a coordinated effort. It's the whole political class that have done this. Mm-hmm. They want us fighting Republican Democrat. Yeah. If you go back far enough, you see that Trump was a Democrat. See, they were all buddies. They've always been buddies.
Yeah,
I mean Trump had dinner I don't know how many times with the Clintons.
That is true. And there's photo proof of that, too. I mean, I really can't get into this because, I'm not into politics, but I do understand what you're saying.
And I'm sorry to take it that way. I'll lighten it up on you, though.
It's fine. It's fine because, I mean, I don't pay attention to politics, but I have to give my opinion as a common sense human being, as an individual, as a person that is not registered to vote. I don't care about Democrats. I don't care about Republicans, or shall I say it in my own term, I don't care about the elephants, and I don't care about about the jackasses. All I care about is just having common sense when it comes to what's going on in this country, what's going on down in my hometown, what's going on in my city. That's all I care about. I want a person who represents me in the most common faction and leave their damn politics behind. Will we ever get that in this country? Will we ever get that in any place we live? Right now, no. Sad to say.
Yep.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Because the John LeBang Show will be right back.
After this.
That's guaranteed. Yes. Quality One Painting. For interior and exterior painting needs, call Tom at Quality One, 313-982-2986. Tom will give you free estimates, senior discounts, and I can tell you from meeting the gentleman, he's one of the nicest guys on the face of the planet. So for a quality paint job with a professional attitude, call Tom at Quality One Painting. That's 313-982-2986. 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting.
You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
It's what's cool on radio.
I'm just creating a game on the spot.
Okay.
The Jonathan Knows New York Sports game.
Let's see how much. It's been a long time. Let's see.
All right.
Yeah.
You're going to name the team and the position.
Ooh, okay.
Carmelo Anthony.
I think he was a shooting forward. He was a shooting guard. He played for the Knicks. Anyway, I'm a Net fan, so Carmelo Anthony. He was with the Knicks. He's now with Houston, I believe. He played with Cleveland. He played with the Denver Nuggets before he came to the Knicks. So that's all I got right now.
Place it in.
Henrik Lundqvist.
Goalie for the New York Rangers.
Gary Sanchez.
A person who shouldn't be catching for the New York Yankees, honestly. Oh, my God.
Monster shot.
Honestly. Great hit. He can't catch. He can't catch. If there's a way we could bring Thurman Munson back from the dead to catch for the Yankees, I'll feel better. He can't catch. He can't catch. Let's get Jorge Posada. How about Jim Leyritz? Let's get Jim Leyritz to catch. How about Rick Cerrone? Let's get Rick Cerrone. Or how about bringing Yogi Berra from the dead to catch? This guy can't catch. He can't catch. He can't even hit. He hits all these long home runs and stands on like a slow turtle. I need a person to catch, John. See, now look what you started. You brought Gary Sanchez. He's the catcher for the Yankees. We'll leave it at that. Oh.
Jacob deGrom.
Pitcher for the New York Mets, a man who should never have shaved his head. He's a good pitcher, though. He's a good pitcher for the Mets.
That ball is out of here!
Brandon Marshall.
A guy that did not want to play with the Jets and did not feel like playing with the Giants. He's now playing for the Denver Broncos, and he's a wide receiver, I believe.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah!
David Wright.
Oh, man. He was a third baseman for the Mets, a great player. I can't say nothing bad about him, to be honest. Great player for the Mets, future Mets Hall of Famer. It is a shame the spinal stenosis cut his career short. It almost feels like Don Mattingly almost. But, yeah, third baseman for the Mets, a great player, classy player. I can't say I'm a Yankee fan, but I respect David Wright like hell. Former third baseman for the Mets.
Grand slam!
David Villa.
David Villa, I don't know, honestly.
New York CFC
Holy
forward.
cow! Oh, my God! I'm an NYCFC fan, and I didn't even know that. It's David Villa. See, you said the last name wrong. That shouldn't count. It's David Villa.
It's Villa, not Villa?
Not Villa. That's what you threw me off. It's David Villa.
We'll give it to you.
Villa.
We'll give it to you, Jonathan.
Okay.
I suck.
All right.
I suck like the Mets suck. Like the New York Yankees suck. Like the Bills suck.
Struggling.
Now, NYCFC's in the playoffs, so they don't suck. They don't suck. They're good. That's my team right there.
He knows how to win the game. And
Tina Charles.
Tina Charles. Well, it sounds like a female's name, so the only thing I could think of is New York Liberty.
Position?
I don't know. I don't watch the WNBA. I don't watch the New York Liberty.
Struggling.
Center. Curtis Granderson.
Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, currently Brewers, Blue Jays, Tiger, classy player, outfielder. a guy that you always want on your team, and also to know as a human being. He's a great human being, and he's such a good player, and just a good human being all around.
How can we lose?
Jack Cohen.
Oh man, I don't know. Honestly, you threw a curveball at me.
Sayville quarterback.
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
You did really well, man. I think I only stumped you on the one in the. I pronounced the name wrong.
Yeah, because when you say that was on you, because I'm an NYCFC fan, and if any NYCFC fan is hearing this, it's not my fault. The man behind the other mic said it wrong. I apologize. I do not want to turn in my scarf or my hat or my jersey or my keychain or my Yes Network subscription. I apologize. I did not know what he was talking about. David Villa, the captain, future Hall of Famer, my man, he better win the cup for us this year.
Are they doing well? I don't know the soccer stuff.
They're in the playoffs. They're playoff bound. They're postseason bound. Hopefully they could do better than the Yankees at the ballpark. You tell me this. How the hell does a soccer team play in a baseball stadium like Yankee Stadium? How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? And they got more postseason games in that stadium than the Yankees. How is that possible, man?
Don't they only play like one? Like they don't play a match, or they just play one game against every team, right?
No, they play a couple of matches because that's their home stadium. Because this city, I mean, they can't find a stadium in this town for this club, and they're a winning club. They're a very good team. They're very hard, very well-run franchise. They're half owned by the Yankees and half owned by Manchester United. So they're a good club. I love them. I mean, I never took the Red Bull seriously. I mean, seriously, would you want to take a team named after an energy drink seriously?
Red Bull gives you wings.
They used to be the Metro Stars. And then when I opened the paper, I remember I was in high school, and they almost had to carry me out the lunchroom from dying from laughing. When I saw that the club was called the Red Bulls, I nearly lost it. And I was drinking Red Bull at the time that morning. And I just said, seriously, who the hell's going to watch a team named after an energy drink? Honestly?
It's like the Anaheim Mighty Ducks when they came out. They finally dropped that, finally.
Honestly, I actually liked it. I really do. I think it was a good touch at the time. Disney owned the team at the time. But it's kind of sad that the Mighty Ducks were only successful under the Mighty name, I think, 1 or 2 years? Because if you remember that unbelievable Stanley Cup Finals between the Devils and the Mighty Ducks, I mean, that was a great finals. And one I remember, and maybe I got the name wrong, Paul Correa.
Yes.
He takes a hit by Scott Stevens, a brutal hit. He looks like he's dead on the ice, and all of a sudden he wakes up and a puff of air hits the mask. He's taken to the locker room. He comes out. Gary Thorne, Bill Clement, and the other broadcaster who's a former Ranger and a former, his name escapes me. Man, I should know this, but I don't remember his name. And they're all shocked he comes back. So the Devils are losing like hell. And then Paul Correa comes out of nowhere and just makes a blistering shot by Brodeur. It was one of the most unbelievable and great scenes I've ever seen watching hockey, honestly. And that was a great moment for the Mighty Ducks. Unfortunately, lost the cup to the Devils. And, the story goes, as you could tell, I love hockey. I'm a Puerto Rican New Yorker, and I remember so much about that series. It was great. I could say, that was the year I truly became a hockey fan, a huge hockey fan. It was a great series to watch.
It is such a sad time here in Detroit. No teams are good at all.
And that's a shame. It's a shame. It really is. And, we've had that time here in New York City. I remember, this year, I don't know if we're almost close to it, but it's tough. It's tough. I think anytime you live in a town, whether you have multiple teams or 1 or 2 or 4, and none of the teams do well, they all suck, it's a tough time. It's a tough time. So
the worst thing about it, Jonathan, is that we have a brand new hockey arena. The football arena is less than 10 years old. The baseball arena is only or the baseball park is only like maybe 12 or 15 years old. These are young arenas, and our teams suck. Nobody's built a winner in all this time.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. Citi Field here in New York with the Mets. They haven't had that many winning seasons too, and it's been like a house. What you call it? The old saying, "House of Horrors." That seems to always be the case with some of these teams get these, these new stadiums and stuff. They rather focus on getting new buildings, but yet they rather not put money into making their product better. I think that's the main problem here. But
everything's so expensive, Jonathan. In these new arenas, it's so out of hand. You walk around for a piece of crap pizza, which sucks, like you said, it sucks, and you're getting a piece of cardboard. And it's like
I'll tell you
15,
what.
16 bucks for a piece of crap.
I'll tell you what, you're absolutely right. Because I'll tell you one thing, and you found this out today, a few weeks ago. I went to my first Yankee game in 22 years on the day before Labor Day. I have not been to Yankee Stadium or seen the Yankee game since '96. Okay. The food there is ridiculous. It's too much. The pretzel was probably the only affordable thing, the pretzel and the soda. I would not... Seriously, their hot dogs suck so much, not even a dog would eat it. They cost so much. I remember I went to an
Stormy
NFC game.
Daniels wouldn't even touch it.
Oh, man, I tell you. Here's the thing. My friend took me to an NYCFC game at the new stadium a few years ago. I bought myself a hot dog. That crap cost me, what, $6 to $5? And that thing literally tastes like crap. It was horrible. I couldn't eat that hot dog, and I'm a hot dog guy. I go to a minor league ballpark in Coney Island to see the Brooklyn Cyclones. I get myself a hot dog for $3. It tastes good. You know why? Because it's coming from Nathan's. Nathan's hot dog is awesome. It tastes great and stuff. What does Yankee give? They don't give nothing. And I'm a Yankee. If I went to the Mets football park in Citi Field, it's the same thing. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. It's highway robbery, man. That's what they want. It's all about money. It's not about the quality. It's not about the product. It's all about money.
Give a shout-out to all your social media, any websites you want to connect to.
Yeah, well, listen, if you guys want to listen to John Lebang Show and any other show on our station, go to live365.com or download the link, the Live 365 app on your phone. If you're outside the U.S., you can listen to us on Caster FM, 920WN.Caster.FM. You want to follow us on Facebook, you can go ahead, facebook.com/WON 920, and you'll get all your schedules, all your promo posters, etc., etc. We will always bring you the best in entertainment, whether it's old, new, present, future, doesn't matter. We are America's #1 nostalgia station and variety station, and John, I'm glad to have you part of it.
Well, I'm glad to be part of it. And you put together one heck of a great station because
Thank you very much.
And you work so hard, not just on your own shows, but you're posting every weekend, every day.
Yeah.
There's a show. You're putting it out, and then after the fact, you post what is it, a SoundCloud or something about the show?
Mixcloud.
Mixcloud.
Yes.
Hey, there's so many damn sites now. I forget which one's which.
I agree.
Social media's gone out of hand, my friend. I just can't stand it anymore. You got to be on every one of the latest things, but you got to stay on Facebook on top of it all.
And Facebook's got to get itself together. But there is a good thing about Facebook and Twitter is the fact you get your product out there. And a lot of people, and I know Facebook got these stupid rules where you can't promote so much and stuff. That sucks, and they got to change it. But for me, if it wasn't for Facebook, I don't know where 920 or WN or anything that I do would be, honestly. And so social media, and I used to hate social media, but a friend of mine got me into it over 10 years ago, and here I am. Or actually 8 years ago. So here I am, and if it wasn't for that, there would be no WON. So
it helps make it international versus just local.
Yeah, exactly. And we're a New York station, even though we broadcast all over the world, but it's a lot of work, and I'm the only guy that runs it. I mean, I do everything, man. It's a lot of work, but it's fun to do, though. I get a lot of pleasure out of it, honestly. And if it wasn't for the station, I mean, we get a lot of people that want to be part of this station. Sometimes we have to turn them away either because the format is wrong or we just have no room. And it's difficult. It really is difficult. But, again, I enjoy doing it. I really do, and it's worthwhile. And we have a product here that's a good one. And I like I said, there's a lot of work to be done because I want to continue to grow this brand as much as I can.
Yeah, you're not talking about that pizza that doesn't have a bag, the bland pizza.
No.
You're talking about your station, which is a brand.
My station, not the stupid Domino's down Graham Avenue in my neighborhood that makes $1 billion for a damn franchise and can't give plastic bags at around 11:30 in the nighttime. Seriously, John.
When it's raining.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, what's the matter? How do you not have a plastic bag? Burger King gives plastic bags. My pizzeria across the street gives plastic bags. McDonald's gives plastic bags. Wendy's gives plastic bags. The hobo across the street has plastic bags. How does Domino's not have plastic bags?
Oh, I don't think we can top that. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me this weekend.
Hey, buddy, always a pleasure. Looking forward to do it again and keep up the good work. I really do appreciate you having me on the show. It was a lot of fun,
Thank you, sir. That was Jonathan Rios of 920 WON The Apple in New York.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance is futile.
I think you're going to sleep well, my friend.
I think so, too. Oh, man. This is fun. I'll be honest. This is the most fun I've had in a while on the phone.